You know, we hear so much noise today about artificial intelligence. Is it alive? Is it going to take over the world? But what if we just stripped away all that sci-fi hype for a minute? Let's dive right into this explainer and look at what the source material reveals about the actual mechanical anatomy of AI. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by all the technical jargon out there, don't worry, we're going to unpack this together and really break it down into its core mechanical components.
The author kicks things off with this incredibly provocative demand, literally asking us to immediately empty the word anthropomorphism from our brains. They're challenging us right out of the gate to stop treating AI like some conscious feeling digital life form. Anthropomorphism, if you're not familiar, is just when we give human traits to non-human things. And the source insists that doing this with AI is, hands down, the biggest roadblock to actually understanding it. We have got to stop thinking of it as this mysterious black box that somehow has thoughts or feelings or a soul.
So once you strip away all those human traits, what are you actually left with? Well, according to the source, it's simply a giant organized archive of human history. Think of it like the ultimate massive zip file. It contains literally all the language, the data, the logic, and the experience that humanity has ever produced, which has then been packaged together via these complex mathematical algorithms. Under this definition, the AI itself isn't generating brand new, unheard-of wisdom out of thin air. Instead, your prompts are really nothing more than modern search terms, just digging through this massive archive of things that we as humans have already figured out.
Okay, so here is our game plan for today's explainer. First, unmasking the AI myth. Second, the 3 pillars of AI. Third, fixing AI with RLHF. Fourth, the unified AI future. And finally, number 5, surviving the wisdom era. Let's get right into it. Section 1, unmasking the AI myth.
Look at these stark contrasts we have here. Public perception desperately wants to believe in this mystical black box, a digital life form that's capable of thinking and feeling. But the mechanical reality? It's literally just complex electronic pulses. At its core, it is running simple addition equations inside integrated circuits. When an AI gives you a shockingly accurate answer, it isn't guessing, and it certainly isn't thinking about you. It is just reaching a mathematically inevitable output based entirely on the data it was fed and the code it runs on. There is absolutely no true randomness or probability in the human sense going on inside that machine. It's just cold, hard calculation.
Section 2, the 3 pillars of AI.
Now, what's really cool is how the author anatomically breaks down this massive machine into 3 highly digestible parts. The source states that the whole AI monument is built on these 3 distinct pillars, and they all have to work together to process our prompts. You literally cannot have modern AI without all 3 of these operating in perfect harmony. You've got the fuel, which is massive, cleaned data, the heart, which is compute power and GPUs, and the soul, which is the transformer blueprint. So let's look at each one of these a bit closer.
Starting with pillar number 1, the fuel. And here is a totally fascinating tidbit I learned from the source. Raw volume just isn't enough. Sure, the internet provides a staggering volume of data. We're talking billions of web pages and articles, but it has to be rigorously cleaned. And out of all that data, computer code is actually the absolute highest quality fuel. Why? Well, because human language is incredibly messy. It's full of ambiguity and slang. Code, on the other hand, has strict, unbreakable rules. The source argues that absorbing all of this strict code is exactly what gives AI its powerful underlying sense of logic. Now, to process that massive amount of fuel, the system actually skips traditional CPUs entirely and relies on GPUs, or graphics processing units. Think of a CPU like a single, incredibly smart worker doing just one task at a time. That's sequential processing. GPUs, though, which were originally built to render really complex video game graphics, are an entirely different beast. They're more like thousands of smaller workers doing tiny tasks all at the exact same time. That's parallel processing. The source notes that this shift fundamentally changed the entire tech landscape, making GPUs the true beating heart of the AI boom. Just to put this hardware evolution into perspective, the author points out Elon Musk's early role in gathering all this required compute power, co-founding OpenAI back in 2015. Then, by 2016, NVIDIA was already delivering the very first AI supercomputers equipped with those Tesla GPUs. Fast forward to today, as we head toward 2026, global data storage has reached such exponential scales that it can finally fully utilize this incredible dedicated hardware. And finally, pillar number 3, the soul. This is the famous transformer architecture. Now, the original paper that introduced this was famously called "Attention is All You Need,"
which unfortunately led everyone to incorrectly assume that AI pays attention just like a human does. But the source explicitly warns us against this. The transformer algorithm absolutely does not possess biological focus. Instead, it simply calculates mathematical weight allocation and creates coordinate links between tiny fragments of information. It's essentially just a structural blueprint for sorting out data importance.
So watch how these three pillars come together on what is basically a mechanical assembly line. The source outlines this highly rigid, 5-step pipeline to prove that AI is really just matching fragments based on weights. Step 1. You ask by inputting a prompt. Step 2. The machine translates your words into numbers. Step 3. It chops those numbers into fragments called tokens. Step 4. It searches its massive database to match mathematical weight links. And finally, Step 5. It outputs a digitally formatted response. See? It's not magically conjuring up brilliant thoughts. It's just faithfully executing a 5-step pipeline.
Section 3. Fixing AI with RLHF. Now, here's a pretty wild comparison for you. A raw, uncalibrated AI has absorbed literally all human data. And yes, that includes all of our glaring contradictions, our errors, and the absolute worst internet biases. Because of this, the source affectionately describes raw AI as a babbling lunatic. It's highly prone to hallucinations, just spouting complete unhinged nonsense. So, to transform it into that polite, obedient assistant that we interact with every day, it has to go through a process called RLHF. The end result is an output that is super safe and structured, but as a trade-off, it's way more creatively restricted.
So, what on earth is RLHF? Well, it stands for Reinforcement Learning from Human Feedback, but the author stresses a really vital point here. We always hear that AI is rewarded or punished during its training, right? But remember, we have to drop the anthropomorphism. The machine feels absolutely zero joy from a reward and no pain from a punishment. Here's the real aha moment. RLHF is basically digital correction fluid applied by real human annotators. These people are forcibly moving parameter weights inside the algorithm to create a behavioral filter. It essentially forces the AI to be safe and polite by heavily weighting those specific pre-approved pathways.
Section 4. The Unified AI Future.
Okay, we are looking at an impending reality that the author calls the Jarvis architecture. And honestly, this is genuinely awe-inspiring. Right now, a video file, an audio file, and a text document are totally isolated, separate formats. But in the near future, all data, even massive, hours-long video files, will automatically become searchable, weighted text the very moment they are created. With this deep synergy between AI and physical hardware chips, you'll have direct, instantaneous semantic data retrieval. Just imagine a true system-level personal assistant that can instantly search through literally everything you have ever recorded, watched, or written.
Section 5. Surviving the Wisdom Era. The source dramatically frames AI as a weapon of absolute wisdom. Think about it. In the past, power was generally held by those with physical force or just vast amounts of capital. But today, power lies in being able to instantly query the compressed wisdom of all humanity. The author makes a really compelling argument here. If you refuse to use this tool, or if you choose to ignore it simply because you're intimidated by the technical jargon, you are leaving yourself completely defenseless in the modern world.
But, just firing up an AI isn't enough to actually survive. Because the internet is absolutely flooded with self-proclaimed experts spreading noise and misinformation, the author insists we must rigorously apply a 5-step method of critical thinking. Read, refute, question, think, and summarize. Having the answer just isn't uniquely valuable anymore, because the AI already knows all the answers. What makes you valuable now is your human ability to ask the right questions and to critically filter the information the machine gives you. This method right here is your ultimate shield against information pollution. So, leaving you with this provocative final thought from our explainer today. In an era where the compressed history, logic, and wisdom of the entire human race is sitting right there at your fingertips, how will you choose to use it? Are you going to learn the mechanics, master the prompts, and become a rule maker? Or will you fall behind and just be a follower? The choice is entirely yours. Keep questioning everything,